Okay, class, the point of this video is going to introduce you to the assignment that you're going to need to be working on Tuesday, which will be then due on Wednesday. So the main goals of this lesson, and all year we've been learning about this force of globalization. You know, we started the year with the world is flat 3.0. We read about these forces, what they look like, and the consequences of globalization. Throughout the whole class, we've been learning about how these different separate networks around the world eventually began to integrate into one another with trade, and then all the other resulting consequences of these networks connecting up. And then finally, as we get to the Mongols, the networks spread even more, and then finally in the 1400s with the exploration of the Europeans, we see an even more world integrated network. And as the years gone on, we've seen how this network of trade of ideas and goods has become larger and larger and also more rapid. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to critique contemporary globalization outlooks. That's the first point. So that we're familiar with some of the points that some people make on globalization, on the positives and the negatives. Right, and then the second goal of this lesson is going to assess the specific forces of globalization to see if this is a force that is a positive or a negative thing in our world, because a lot of people, they argue that globalization is a negative thing. Other people are on the positive side. We need to decide for ourselves, and then after we make those decisions, we will then use that to shape the policies and the societies around us. Alright, so the lesson checklist here is you are going to first assess cultural globalization is not Americanization essay. I have a number of questions. I'll run through that here in a moment. You need to complete this individually for class on Wednesday. You will be handing this sheet in, so make sure that you have that ready to go. This can either be a line sheet of paper or it can be a Word doc. It's up to you, but it must be complete by the beginning of class on Wednesday. The next part, you're going to work with your group on a series of globalization questions in some specific assigned topics of globalization. Your group will present this information in class on Wednesday. Then you're going to make sure that you have a group master sheet that you'll hand in to Mr. Compton. This can again be on line sheet of paper, or if you really want to impress, make sure that you put it on a Word document. The next thing that you need to make sure that you're doing, and this is for on Thursday, we'll have a timed continuity and change over time essay. I'll give you a little hint on this. Make sure that you review the structure. The structure is so important. That way you're not wasting time writing sentences that don't deliver the clear point. Those PowerPoints to review that are available to you online via Moodle. Make sure that you check that out either on the date in which we learned about that, about 2 months ago, or you can look at it in the continuity and change over time essay box, which is found on the main block. Make sure that you acquire specific evidence. You must have something specific, names, people, events, developments, documents that are underscoring your position. Hints on what the topic will be so that it can narrow down what you're studying this class. Is if you've been doing the things from the last 2 weeks, you shouldn't have too much of a problem, but you probably still want to go back and review them. The hint is going to be independence movements of the 20th century. So that's the lesson checklist. You need to have all these things done by Wednesday. The continuity and change over time essay, make sure that you're prepared for that on Thursday. Okay, now in terms of the resources to complete this activity, here we have the Moodle class website. You'll scroll on down and you'll see right here under week 31 we have the video that you're currently watching. Then for Tuesday, April 30th, the work that you'll be completing. Let's focus on the one that you need to do individually. You'll click, you'll open this up. Then you'll see 4 questions here. You'll need to click this link open, and then up will come an essay written by this blogger right here. You'll need to read his argument about cultural globalization is not being Americanization. You'll need to address the 3 questions that go along with that. Oops, let me get back to there. Alright, you'll need to address the 4 questions, excuse me. What are the author's strongest points, weakest points? You can read these. Make sure for questions 1 and 2 you have specific points, specific things that he says that are strong or weak, and then the reasons as to why you believe they're strong or weak. Is it because of the way in which he delivers them, the wording of it, the evidence that he has to back him up? Make sure that you're critically assessing this person's position here. Right? Let's not just take it for what he says. Let's make sure that we're keeping in mind the entire context, and we're also doing a little bit of research on the individual. So that's part one. All right, the second part is assessing globalization. You'll open up this link right here, and then you'll have the goal of this assignment is to, let me read it here, let me open it up. Is this force of globalization positive or negative for the development of humanity? That's the ultimate question that you're needing to assess. Working in your groups, you're going to investigate 2 topics from this website to present to the class. All right, so here's the website. Now, you're not going to be assigned your topic until class on Tuesday, but you need to know all the pieces for this assignment. So here are the potential topics that you'll have to investigate. Think about which ones that you might particularly like to have. It'll be first come, first served to sign up for these topics in class on Tuesday. All right, so back to the assignment. For each one of those topics that you're going to research, you need to complete the following questions and tasks. Now, make sure, for example, how this specific force compares to other earlier eras of history. You need to find specific things. So say, for example, your topic might be migration. What you're going to do is you need to look at migration today, an example of migration today. Maybe it's migrants coming from Mexico to the United States. And then immigration perhaps in the 1800s. So in this case, maybe forced African migration. And you need to look at, analyze the similarities and the differences between those two. And make sure that you come up with some of the specific things to underscore those general differences that you might be discussing. Finally, at the end, make sure that you assess whether the force is having a net positive or negative effect on the world, and that's for your particular topic. So maybe migration and women, if those are your topics. Defend your answers with at least 2 specific examples. That means 2 for women, 2 for migration. All right, and those need to be specific things. Maybe it's something that results from education attainment increases from these migrants going to live in new places to seek out these opportunities. As a result, what happens from that education attainment in regards to the net effect on the world, and whether or not that's a negative or a positive thing. All right, so that is the assignment. It must be completed by Wednesday, but again, you're going to have all of Tuesday in class to work on this. Mr. Compton will be going around the classroom and helping you out to craft your responses to these particular tasks. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure that you email Mr. Compton at mrcomptonrhs@gmail.com. He'll make sure that he can get back to you. All right, have a good day.